Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope everyone fine. Are you ready for the class today? Good. So in grade 8 computer science, we are going to revise the chapter 1. So last 3 previous class we have learned chapter 1, that is introduction to C language, isn't it? So we are going to revise all together now. So be ready with your notes that you have taken in the previous classes. Are you ready? Yes. Chapter 1, Introduction to C language. We have seen what is C language and what are the problem solving technique, isn't it? So let me recall everything now. So already you know that a computer will perform many tasks as we told. So that saying we have to program to the computer. So first we have seen problem solving techniques, isn't it? So what are the 3 problem solving techniques? One is algorithm, flowchart and pseudocode. Okay, have you remembered this? Good. So or else turn back your notes and see what you have written for each. So algorithm. What is algorithm? Algorithm is a step-by-step procedure for solving a program. It is written in an ordinary language. Okay dear. Then we have seen the properties of algorithm, isn't it? What are that? Finiteness, definiteness, effectiveness, generality, input or output. Then one example we have seen. This is also a step by step. You see, step 1, step 2 up to step 6. First we have to read the given input A, B, C. So here they are getting 3 inputs from the user and that they are getting the values for that and dividing and storing the result, and finally they are giving the output. Okay, so first step 1, read the given input A, B, C, compute the sum of A, B, C, divide the sum by 3, store the result in variable D and print the output value of D. At last we have to end the program. This is a simple example for algorithm. Next, flowchart. What is the flowchart? A diagrammatic representation of the problem solving, isn't it? So it's a flowchart is a step-by-step diagrammatic representation to a given problem. A flowchart is a visual or graphical representation of the algorithm. It is an easy way to identify or understand the program. So what are the advantages in that we have seen? So it is the pictorial representation, isn't it? So easy checking and good communication also, and also to break the problem into small parts, and that parts can be connected to make it as a chart. Okay, then it is a permanent record of solution which can be discussed later. Okay, so what are the disadvantages of the flowchart? So some tasks are so complex that it becomes difficult to represent them clearly. We should not think everything will be easy for us. Some will be so complex. Then, if an alteration needs to be made to the system, the flowchart might need to be redrawn again. Okay, if it was created by hand, this would take a lot of work. So, these are the 2 disadvantages of flowchart. Then we see the symbols of flowchart. Okay, so what are the symbols? Do you remember terminal symbol? Yeah, this oval shape, flat oval, is said to be start or stop the process. Then this parallelogram for input or output process. Rhombus, this diamond symbol is for decision making. Then arrows, up and down arrows, that is for the flow lines to indicate the direction of flow. Then this circle is used as on page connector. Within a page, if we want to stop and start the flowchart, we can use this. This jumping point is used as off page connector. If a page completes, then we move on to the next page, you have to use this symbol. Then rectangle to represent the process. Okay dear. Then a small example for a flowchart. You see here you have to find the profit and loss. So start a flowchart, read the cost price. We have to know the price. Okay, then we have to check whether it is greater than that SP. What is that SP? You know that cost price, selling price and cost price. Yeah, I think you have studied in maths. Okay, so if the selling price is greater than the cost price, it is considered to be profit. If it is less than that, it is loss. So in rhombus symbol we are checking that condition. Okay, if it yes, it flows to the right side, the direction. If it is no, it comes to the down. Okay, so profit equal to SP minus CP. Here loss equal to CP minus SP. So what we have to print finally? If it is a loss, we have to print loss. If it is profit, we have to print it is profit. Then we have to stop the process. This is a one example for that. Then difference between the algorithm and flowchart. Okay, so look it clearly. So what is the first point in that? So in algorithm, a method of representing the step-by-step logical procedure for solving a problem. So on the other hand, flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of an algorithm. It is constructed using different types of boxes and symbols. First we have to define each. What is algorithm? What is flowchart? Then second point, it contains step-by-step English descriptions, each step representing a particular operation leading to solution of the problem. It is in an ordinary language, that is English description. Here, the flowchart employs a series of blocks and arrows, each of which represents a particular step in an algorithm. Here, how the algorithm have the English description, here it has the blocks and arrows, that blocks is parts of that flowchart. Then third point, these are particularly useful for small problems. That algorithm is easy for the small problems. These are useful for detailed representation of complicated programs. Okay, so this is the difference between that. So here, complex program algorithm proved to be inadequate. For complex program, it is not suitable. That is algorithm. Here for complex program, flowcharts proved to be adequate. So it is suitable for the complex problem. Could you see what are the difference between the algorithm and flowchart? So first one, we have to define what is algorithm, what is flowchart. Then here it is a step-by-step English description. Here it is a series of blocks and arrows. Then these particularly useful for small problems. Here flowchart is used for the complex problem. In complex problem, algorithms are inadequate. For complex problem, flowcharts are adequate. So these are the 4 points. That is the difference between the flowchart and the algorithm. Okay. So here there is a note given for you. Pseudocode, various terms like words, phrases are used, but the syntax of the program is not strictly followed in pseudocode. Okay. So one pseudocode is given, the definitions. It is neither an algorithm nor a program. It is an abstract form of program undefined for an algorithm. It does not use any graphical representation like flowchart. Okay, so some of the advantages of pseudocode is easy to read, easy to understand, easy to modify, and some disadvantages in that it is not visual. Don't get the picture of the design. There won't be any design for it. There is no standardized style and format. Okay, example for that, listen. Write a pseudocode to perform the basic arithmetic operations. First we have to read n1 and n2, that is number 1 and number 2, perform addition, then perform the subtraction, perform multiplication. That is, these are the basic arithmetic operation, isn't it? So perform addition, n1 plus n2, perform subtraction, that is number 1 minus number 2, perform multiplication, number 1 into number 2, perform division, number 1 slash number 2. So now we have to print addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Finally we have to end. So this is a pseudocode. Okay, then we have seen introduction to C language, isn't it? So what is that program? Program is a set of instruction. Already I taught you. So large task will be broken into smaller parts. That smaller parts can be easily executed and it can be known to the computer. Okay, so what are the thing we have to develop in a computer for the program? See that some logic is to be developed, which is called a program development. Okay, in that entering the logical algorithm into the computer is called program editing. Okay, then binary conversion. So even when the program is written, it should be converted to the computer language, isn't it? So the third point is the program will be translated into the machine code. Then finally the program is executed, which is known as execution. Then what are the terminologies in writing the program? So following are the 4 terminologies is that one is source code, object code, then bugs and debugs. Okay, source code is nothing but the human readable programming language. Then object code, the converted language to the machine. Okay, then bugs is nothing but, I told you, that is error. Okay, it is a fault in the written. Even though we are writing the program, already I told you human will make some mistakes in that, isn't it? So then debugging, removing the errors. So what are the types in debugging? Do you remember? Syntax error, runtime error, and logical error. Okay, so these are the types in debugging. Then we have seen is history of C language, when, in which laboratory, who have developed this, from where it has been emerged. Okay, so let me see this in a small step by step one. Yeah, here. So here in 1960, Algol international group, they developed that. From that, in 1967, BCPL have been developed by Martin Richard. Then 1917, B has been developed by Ken Thompson. Then 1973, traditional C has been emerged by Dennis Ritchie, who we are considering as father of the C language. Okay, in 1989, ANSI C by the ANSI committee, and 1990 ANSI and ISO C by the ISO committee. Let me see some features of the C language. First one, simple, versatile, general purpose language. Then it follows top-down approach, from the top to the down approach. It has a rich set of operators. Program execution are fast and efficient. It can easily manipulate with bits, bytes, and addresses. So varieties of data types are available. Separate compilation of functions is possible, and such functions can be called as any C program. Then block structured language. I told you block by block it will generate it. Then can be applied in system programming areas like operating system, compilers, text editors, network drivers, modern programs, and database. These are the features. Then let me see some the what are the C language constitute of. Okay, the same features it has been given in this form. Okay, then application of C. So C language is used for creating computer applications. It is used for embedded software, firmware for various electronics, industrial, and communication products which use microcontrollers. So in various platforms, the C languages or the building blocks. Okay, for creating compiles of different language which take input from other language and convert into lower level language. C is used to implement different operating system for various operations. So Unix, okay, it is one of the software. Unix kernel is completely developed in C language. Okay, that is the version developed from the C language. It is used to develop application software like database and spreadsheet. Many companies are using the database and spreadsheet for their improvement. Then for develop graphical related application like computer and mobile games also, the C language is a basic platform. Okay, some limitations also there in the C. What are that? It perform runtime type checking. Already I told that while running that it will compile and check the errors, isn't it? It only does compile time checking. Then C does not provide support for namespace like C++. Okay, so C is a basic version and C++ is a updated version of that. Like C++, some limitations are there in the C. Okay, without namespace we cannot declare two variables of same name. Then C doesn't support the concept of constructors and destructors, will not be used in C language like C++. And C tokens we have seen, isn't it? What are the C tokens? It's a basic building blocks. What are that? Variables or identifiers, constants or literals, keywords, operators, and punctuators. So all this you will be learning in the chapter 2. Okay, so what is syntax? Already I told you that is set of rules to be followed in the C program. Okay, that is called syntax. Okay, identifiers. What is identifiers? It is a name given to the variable, constant, functions, and user defined data. So some name should be given for all the things, the tokens we are using in the C program. Okay, there is some set of rules for naming the identifier. Note it down. An identifier only have alphanumeric characters, that is alphabet and numeric, and underscore alone used as a special character. Okay, you should be differentiate between the hyphen and the underscore. Okay, the first character of the identifier can only contain alphabet, okay, or underscore. It should not start with a numerical number. Identifiers are also case sensitive in C. Case sensitive, that is either capital letter or small letter. For example, name and name are two different identifiers, even though it is same for us, but small n and capital N is different for C language. Keywords are not allowed to be used as identifiers. So some of the keywords will be listed in the next chapter. It won't be allowed as identifiers in C program. No special characters such as semicolon, period or white spaces, slash will not be permitted in the identifier. Then characteristic of C language, isn't it? What are the characters? Lowercase, uppercase, digits, special characters and white space. Okay. Then what we have seen, a small sample C program we have seen, that is hash include, that is the input output header file. Then main, we have to start the program, then curly braces, then any printf line to print anything as a output. Okay, then we have to close the curly brace. That is the simple C program. Next class I will teach you how to write a C program. Okay dear, so be ready for that. Then we have seen the structure of a C program. So what are the sections involved in the C program? How many sections we have seen? 7. Yes, what are that? Documentation section, link section, definition section, global declaration section, function prototype declaration section, main function, user defined function definition. So these are the 7 sections that are included in the C program, that is called as a structure of the C. And also we have seen the description of each. So what is documentation section? It is a command line. Link section, that is a header file. Definition, variables are defined here. Global declaration, these variables can be used anywhere in the C program, that is a globally it will be defined. Then function prototype, it gives many information about the function like return type. Okay, parameters will be given here. Main function, so each and every program will start with the main function that contains two major sections, that is declaration and the executable section. Okay, at last user defined function, that is their own function where the programmer will use for their requirement. Okay, user requirement. Then after writing the program, what we have to do? We have to save and then compile and run the C program, whether we have to check there is any errors or not. Okay, so first here they have given turbo C, but nowadays many updated versions are emerged. We can use Dev C++. Okay, DEV, it can be said as Dev or Dev. Okay, so click on the start program, all start button in the Windows, then you have to point to the all programs, then we have to select the turbo C. Okay, is it given here, turbo C++. After clicking that, a small dialog box will open here. This is the turbo C. Okay, here we have to start with a new program, so we have to click file. So when we click file, a drop down box will be appear. Here we have to start with a new file. When we click new, then a dialog box open like this. This is a screen for us to write the C program. So we have written the sample C program we have seen before. Okay, so hash include that header file, then int main function we have to call it, then start the curly braces, then printf, any line given to be printable, then return 0 and we have to close it. So after writing that, we have to click save and save dialog box open. We have to give the name, and while saving the file we have to remember that .c will be given for C program and .cpp or C++ for C++ program. Okay, after saving we have to compile that. So in the top options compile will be there. We can give compile or alt F9. Nowadays in Dev it's given as control F9. Okay, either compilation can be done separately or compile and run can be given together. Okay, so after getting the success message, that is if there is no errors, we can easily get the output. For example, if we get any error message like this, so main file, what is the file name? Compiled is done, how many lines is compiled and how many errors are found. If it is displayed like this, we have to correct that error in the source file. Okay, in what we have written. So after correcting that, again we have to compile and run the program. How to run it? Already I told, either it can be together given as compile and run, or we can give separately compile and then we can run the program. So after running, The run option is there. If we click run, control plus F9, the program will be run and the output will be shown here. So what the word given in the print F line, it will be displayed for us as a output. Okay dear. So this is the chapter 1 that we have seen in the last 3 previous classes. So we all sum up now. Okay. So next class I think you will be ready for the revision test also. I hope so. And we reach us now to the last portion. That is today's activity. So you have to write the difference between algorithm and flowchart. Then terminologies in programming. So we have seen what are the terminologies included in the programming and rules for naming the identifier. We have read some set of rules for naming the identifier, isn't it? That point wise you have to write. Then structure of C program. So what are the structure included in the C program? 7 section. Do you remember that? That you have to write. Are you clear? So these are the questions for you. I hope you understand this revision. It will be helpful for recall this chapter. Then in next class we can have either test or we can move to the next topic. See you in the next class.